Depending on your opinion of the allegedly iPhone 17 Air, a comparison of an iPhone 17 Pro Max against an iPhone 16 Pro Max allows us to examine possible developments to Apple's most premium phone. Though some early reports combined with planned upgrades have given us some sense of what's coming later this year, Apple's iPhone 17 lineup won't premiere until much later in 2025. So there is no time like the present to begin considering possible enhancements. Apple will also have to work hard to raise the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is not only the best iPhone to have released last autumn, but also the best phone overall depending on our tests. Apart from the great performance and epic battery life, Apple's current premium model also generates amazing images with a great camera configuration. It also supports the newest Apple Intelligence technologies, same as other models in the iPhone 16 series. A fresh chipset running the iPhone 17 Pro Max should boost both performance and battery life. Additionally under discussion are fresh cameras for the Pro Max model. Meanwhile, Apple could be exploring a possible redesign that would radically modify the look of the phone compared to prior iPhones. Here's a deeper look at how the iPhone 17 Pro Max and iPhone 16 Pro Max matchup is shaping up at the moment, based on everything we've heard so far about Apple's iPhone plans. The iPhone 16 Pro Max starts at $1,199, making it the most costly model in Apple's portfolio. That pricing matches the cost of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which launched with a $100 price rise from its predecessor. Ideally, the iPhone 17 Pro Max would cost the same as the iPhone 16 Pro Max, too, but that might not be the case. An early iPhone pricing rumor indicates iPhone 17 prices could be on the rise, though the rumor doesn't specify by how much or which models would be affected. There are two reasons to not fret about a future rise. For starters, it's still early in the iPhone 17 rumor cycle, and pricing information really doesn't come into focus until right before the phones ship. Secondly, if Apple does introduce an iPhone 17 Air, as has been widely predicted, that phone is currently projected to cost more than the Pro Max. You would assume that might put a cap on how much Apple might charge for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Availability for Apple's new phones is a little bit more obvious. The iPhone 16 Pro Max arrived with the rest of the iPhone 16 series back in September, Apple's preferred month for unveiling new phones. Barring any big shakeup, you can pencil in a hypothetical iPhone 17 release for September 2025. While the iPhone 16 Pro Max resembled its predecessor in the broadest sense of the word, it did feature a fairly substantial change, a larger display. The 6.9-inch screen meant the iPhone 16 Pro Max was bigger, wider, and heavier than the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which boasted a 6.7-inch panel. Otherwise, the iPhone 16 Pro Max was very recognizable as an Apple phone, with a dynamic island feature holding the front camera and Face ID sensors up front and a triangle camera array on the rear of the smartphone. The style of the iPhone 17 Pro Max could shake things up fairly significantly if speculations regarding Apple's design ambitions prove right. The larger 6.9-inch screen size is expected to return, but the rear of the phone could sport a horizontal camera strip that runs across the handset, not unlike Google's recent Pixel flagships. That assertion is based on a leaked photo that reportedly shows off the iPhone 17 Pro Max's frame. Speaking of frames, there's considerable disagreement as to whether Apple will continue to employ titanium for the frames of its Pro phones or move to aluminum as a cost-saving strategy. Given how Apple advertised the switch to titanium a couple years back, we don't buy the idea that the phone maker would shift course so soon, but it's something to keep in mind. While the iPhone 17 Pro Max display size is anticipated to match the iPhone 16 Pro Max, there could be another display tweak in the works, according to rumors. In 2025, the iPhone 17 Slim, which is also anticipated to have ProMotion technology, may replace the Plus variant. Features like a smaller face eye asterisk sensor, dynamic island cutout, and varied RAM capacities -12 gigs for the Pro variants and 8 gigs for the regular and Slim models could help Apple further differentiate its devices. Rumor has it that the whole iPhone 17 lineup will include 24MP front-facing cameras, which would double the resolution of existing versions. Additionally, the introduction of an Apple-designed Wi-Fi or Bluetooth chip is anticipated. It is crucial to remember that the final product may differ from these details, which are based on rumors and leaks. On the other hand, if these adjustments are implemented, the iPhone 17 series will provide notable enhancements in both performance and display quality. Although I believe Apple's tried and true iPhone design needs a makeover, the concept of curved edges is still enticing. For more than 10 years, Sony sensors have been the only ones used in Apple cameras, but this could soon change. The iPhone 18 may forego the Sony camera sensor in favor of a new 3-layer stacked one from Samsung, according to leaker Jukan Losriv. That supports some of Ming Chi Kuo's earlier assertions. Jukan Losriv argues that this 3-layer stacked image sensor is more advanced than Sony's XM or RS, and he feels that it cannot be ruled out as a potential candidate for the main sensor. Crucially, though, they believe that this sensor is in addition to the anticipated 500 megapixels camera sensor supposedly coming to Galaxy phones in the future. Electronics are installed directly on the back of stacked sensors. Presumably, a 3-layer stacked sensor would have 3 layers of circuitry. They are designed to enable larger frame rates, enhance low light performance, provide a faster readout speed, and lessen rolling shutter effects. When taken as a whole, those might significantly affect image quality. Last year, Kuo asserted that Samsung is anticipated to start supplying Apple with a 1 to 2.6-inch 48 megapixels ultra-wide CMOS image sensor as early as 2026. It appears that the business has a special staff to attend to Apple's needs and most likely persuade the business to fire Sony. It appears that the decision to switch to Samsung is not finalized. Consequently, there is no assurance that Apple will sever its long-standing alliance with Sony, or even that Samsung will ultimately provide all of the camera hardware required for iPhone models 18 and beyond. If Samsung and Sony are vying for Apple's revenue, it might help the company's bottom line. This is especially true when you consider that Samsung Galaxy phones frequently rank among our top camera phones. The arrival of the iPhone 18 is still more than 18 months away, and a lot may change in that time. Even those details are uncertain at this time, and we're still only beginning to piece together what the iPhone 17 potentially have to offer. Therefore, we'll simply have to wait and see how this develops and whether Apple actually switches up its camera providers in the future. It seems increasingly likely that the upcoming Apple gadget will depart from the previous 6 years of design as more leaks and rumors about this year's iPhone 17 lineup surface. Mac Rumors noticed the most recent design rumor that surfaced on Weibo from Poster Fixed Focus Digital. According to them, suppliers are implementing a process overhaul in order to construct the iPhone 17, utilizing new production techniques that should facilitate smoother transitions between various materials, like as glass and aluminum. A translation claims that FFD may employ a top-to-bottom splicing material. According to that description, there will be a more seamless transition between the camera array and the rear panel, which should be apparent around the camera bump. In addition to being uninteresting, there are other ways to ruin a camera bump's design. With regard to the previously mentioned hockey puck cameras, several major Chinese brands have developed some very negative practices. Large circular cameras that occupy the majority of the phone's rear. In addition to their awful appearance, putting your phone camera down on a table positions it at an angle so steep that it might be used as a Lilliput ski slope. Even Google, who seem to have struck gold with the design of the camera bar on the Pixel 7 and Pixel 8, botched this wrong with the Pixel 9. More noticeable than a clown in the rainforest, the new camera bar is large and unwieldy. Even while I like the improvements Google made to the Pixel 9, the camera design needs to be redone. One of Apple's main selling points is its design, so the business doesn't need to ruin its most well-liked product's appearance needlessly. Take a look at the Magic Mouse or the M4 Mac Mini to see that Apple has a history of poor smart design. However, it will only erode the goodwill it has accumulated with customers over the past few years if a perfectly good design is abandoned for something less spectacular. It's true that a Pro Max iPhone has a really substantial camera hump. Good cameras are rarely small, and there are a number of reasons why an iPhone's interior design would benefit from a complete redesign of the camera module. All Apple needs to do is make sure it doesn't fail. Although Apple is aware of the risks, I find it hard to understand why it would decide to tamper with something positive and risk making a mistake. Furthermore, what would happen to the company's spatial video recording if it adopts a horizontal camera layout? The purpose of adjusting the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus's lens placement was to align the two lenses for taking spatial video with the phone held horizontally. According to some, changing the design destroys it and would require all spatial video to be shot vertically, which I find completely objectionable. Despite its niche nature, especially given the lackluster reception of Apple Vision Pro, spatial video doesn't seem like the kind of product that Apple will discard with ease. In the event that Apple decides to alter the iPhone's design, it really will. You and I are limited in what we can do about that. It just looks like a waste of a really nice and useful design that makes the iPhone stand out in every setting. That aspect is crucial in a time when phones are regarded as status symbols on par with clothes. However, it's quite simple to write off change as being unfamiliar and frightening, something Apple is likely all too familiar with. I'm sure they're taking it extremely seriously if the rumors are accurate, and the iPhone 17 Pro will have a completely new look. So that's all we know for now. We'll be sure to keep you updated as soon as we have more information. Thanks for watching.